Honestly, I felt like working at 9 to 5 was a trap because it's like, at least for all the jobs I ever had, if you have a 9 to 5 and you love what you do, that's wonderful. That's amazing. But this isn't for you. I can only speak on the experiences that I've had working a 9 to 5 and seeing other people around me who also worked a 9 to 5. I hated my 9 to 5 and I didn't know anyone who did like their 9 to 5. No one in my family, none of my friends, even my own coworkers, like we all hated our jobs. And I feel like working a 9 to 5 is a trap because by the time you get off from work, you are emotionally depleted. Like you're done. You just are like blah, right? Whether you work a physical job or not. And my 9 to 5, I was working in a lab. So I wasn't on my feet all day. I wasn't walking miles and miles. Definitely wasn't doing any type of warehouse stuff. My job was very sedentary. I was literally sitting at a desk all day in a lab and pipetting specimens from one test tube to another and loading stuff through a computer and then doing like data entry. But it was emotionally exhausting dealing with people, dealing with the nurses calling, dealing with management, dealing with my own coworkers. So by the time I would get off work, I was done. Like I had no more energy left in me to do anything that I wanted to do. And it was the same boring routine every single day. By the time I got off work and got home, it was about 5:30. That's really just enough time to eat, watch one or two TV shows, and be back in bed to do it all again the next day. And then I couldn't even really enjoy my weekends because it's like, okay, yay, it's Friday, but I'm tired because I worked all Friday. So the real only day I have to myself is Saturday. And then by the time it's Sunday, I'm not really enjoying it because I know I have to go to work again the next day, which means I have to cook, which means I have to clean, which means I have to do laundry just to get everything done. I have to go get gas so I don't have to stop at the gas station. It's like I never felt like I was living for me. I never felt like I was doing anything that I wanted to do. And it's a trap because how can I work on what I want to do for myself to better my own life if when I get off work, I'm ready to just sit the fuck down? If before I go to work, I'm not even well rested because I can't sleep because I know I have to go to work. It just wasn't, I had no energy, y'all. I had no energy to thrive, no energy to just feel on top of the world. My energy was very low. I was a very low vibrational person. And today, like, I'm not like that at all. I'm full of energy most days. I'm full of excitement, motivated, ambitious, positive, secure, happy. I'm all these positive things because all of my energy is being poured into me and what I want to do. But back then, and I was working at that lab for 6 years. It was poured into negativity. The environment was toxic, management was toxic, worrying about if I'm going to get written up, being paranoid about making a spelling mistake with data entry and typing in people's names. Just thinking about it, y'all. Literally just thinking about it is pulling away my energy because I don't even know how I made it through those 6 years. Like, by the grace of God, literally by the grace of God. And it paid well. I'm not going to lie. I think at that time, this was before COVID. I was fresh out of college. I was making $20. And then right before I quit, I think I was all the way up to like $27 an hour because like market adjustments, annual raises, things like that. So, it was a decent paying job. And it's not like I had any kids. So it was good. And that's how I feel like they trapped you too, because it's like they give you just enough to live off of where you don't have to like be in a bad area. I had a car, a nice car. I could afford groceries, right? I had they gave us a lot of PTO. They gave us 10 hours of pay period. Most jobs don't do that. Great health insurance, right? I think my copay was only like $25 for a specialist. And I worked for a hospital, so we could, because it was a hospital that I worked for, any of the doctors within the hospital, they had satellite locations and everything. I think it was crazy. Like, health insurance was great. Everything was covered. Literally everything was covered. Once you paid your copay, like that was it. You didn't have to worry about a bill or anything. Medicine was cheap. Like, not that I'm a sickly person, but I'm just saying, like, they they had people trapped. They had, a program where you could go back to school. It was a teaching hospital. And they had university, they had medical school, they had dental school, they had nursing school, they had all these schools. So you could go to school for free as long as you worked there for a year. You could get a bachelor's degree and they'll pay for it if you go to that school. Um, so they give you all these great perks, 401k matching plans. I don't even know what the specifics were on that because honestly, at that time, I didn't really give a fuck. I was young. I was only like 20, 24. Like, who cares? Right? But the point I'm making is they give you all these perks and things to excite you for the moment. But as you keep working week after week, month after month, and year after year, you just kind of like, they gave you a holiday bonus. The holiday bonus was based off of how long you were there and your annual review. So I think at that point I was getting like $600 a year extra, which is cool. Like, it was cool. But I was trapped. I didn't have the energy to work on anything for myself. I wasn't motivated. I just was just there. And I was looking at my coworkers and everyone seemed cool to be there. Like, they were miserable, but they were cool with being miserable. Like, I thought I was tripping. I'm like, so am I the only one that knows that there's something else better out here? Yes. Yes. Yes, I was. And so I never even felt like I belonged. I couldn't do the break room chit chat, talking about people. When I was on break, I went to my car. Like, I was not trying to be in the break room talking to people. Like, fuck am I talking to you for? You don't like me, and I don't like you. Like, I just, I say all this to say, let's get out of this because it's already just thinking about it is bringing my energy down. I say all this to say, there is something way better for you than your 9 to 5. And I know it seems and sounds scary, especially because it might be all you know, right? I never was around entrepreneurs. I didn't even know entrepreneurs. So, me trying to run my own business was definitely different. It was different. But I knew that I wanted more. I didn't want to just be living paycheck to paycheck. I wanted more. Like, I want a big mansion. I want cars. I want to be able to retire my mother. I want to be able to go on trips and be gone for months at a time and not have to worry about money. I just want the world. I literally want the world. And I knew I couldn't get the world by working at that job, not making what I was making. I mean, it was great. Like, you could definitely live off of it. I was living off of it, sure. But I wanted more than that. I didn't want to be miserable for 8 hours every single day. Mandatory overtime. I didn't want to do all of that. We had call hours. So even though you're off, if you're on call, you might still have to come back in. I didn't want to do none of that. If I'm off, I'm off. I encourage you to figure out what you want to do. What you want to do. And I'm here to let you know that you can do that. You can do that thing that you want to do. It's not out of reach. I think we get scared and sometimes we feel like things are out of reach for us. Like, well, I see other people doing it, but that could never be me. Why can't it be you? Why not? Because you convince yourself that it can't be you, but that doesn't mean that it can't be you. So, I've been there. I know how it feels. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. I love my life so much more now, and I've come such a long way since working for myself. Not even just, with the money that I make, but in my own spiritual growth, my own spiritual journey. believing in myself, developing self-confidence, losing weight. I've been vegan for the past 2.5 years. My life has improved on all aspects by leaving my 9 to 5. And honestly, I don't believe that I would be this version of myself if I stayed working at my 9 to 5. So I'm making this video to let you know that you are worth way more than your 9 to 5, and you're not crazy for wanting more, and it's not out of reach. It's not out of reach. Bye, you guys.